You know what the biggest truth is? Nobody's coming to save you. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. It's on you, your dreams, your goals, your future. Everything depends on the choices you make right now. And that's both terrifying and liberating at the same time. We live waiting for the perfect time, waiting for motivation, waiting for a sign. But here's the truth. You don't need motivation. You need action. The moment you stop waiting and start doing, your life begins to change. The smallest step today is worth more than the biggest plan tomorrow. And yes, it's hard, of course. It's uncomfortable. Change always is. But every time you take responsibility for your life, you take back your power. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting. Just you, deciding that your future matters more than your comfort zone. The biggest truth that can change your life is this: you are in control. Not your past, not your circumstances, not other people's opinions. You decide how hard you work, how much you believe in yourself, and how far you're willing to go. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop waiting for permission. Stop letting fear talk you out of your own potential. Stand up, take the first step, and prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you've ever imagined. Because once you realize that truth, your entire life changes. Nobody is coming to save you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner your life will start moving in the direction you want it to go. Too many of us sit around waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for someone to notice us, waiting for circumstances to change, waiting for someone to come and push us forward. But here's the hard truth. No one is coming. Not your friends, not your boss, not your parents, not the universe. Yes, you may get support along the way, but no one is going to hand you the life you dream of. That's on you. Think about it. Every person you admire, every person you look up to, every person who has created something meaningful in their life, they didn't get there by waiting for someone to knock on their door and say, "Here's your success, congratulations." They got there because at some point they decided, if I don't do this for myself, it's never going to happen. That's the switch you have to flip. You can spend your whole life blaming your situation, your upbringing, or your environment. You can keep wishing someone would just see your potential and pull you out of where you are. But wishing isn't a strategy. Hoping isn't action. If you want things to change, you have to change them. If you want to be in a different place 1 year from now, then today has to look different than yesterday. Yes, life is unfair. Yes, you may have been handed challenges that others didn't. But the reality is, no one is going to carry you past them. People might help you, sure, but at the end of the day, it's you who has to do the heavy lifting. And here's the powerful side of that truth. You don't have to wait on anyone else. You don't need permission. You don't need saving. You can start right now with what you have, where you are. When you finally stop waiting for someone to rescue you, you take back your power. Suddenly, you're not at the mercy of whether or not others believe in you. You're not sitting around hoping for the perfect opportunity. You realize that you can create opportunities, you can build confidence, and you can push through fear. That realization is life-changing because it puts the steering wheel back in your hands. Nobody is coming to save you, and that's the best news you'll ever hear, because it means you don't have to wait. You don't have to rely on anyone else. You have everything you need to begin. Every choice you make, every action you take, every step forward. That's you saving yourself. And the more you do it, the stronger you become, the more capable you feel, and the more unstoppable you turn out to be. We spend so much of our lives waiting to feel motivated. We wait until the mood is right, until the stars align, until we feel like it. But here's the truth: motivation is unreliable. It shows up when things are exciting, but the moment things get hard, motivation disappears. If you rely on motivation to change your life, you'll be stuck in the same place for years, maybe forever. What actually creates change is action, not motivation. Action comes first, motivation follows. Think about it. How many times have you said to yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'll do it when I feel ready"? But tomorrow comes and you don't feel any different. The problem isn't you. The problem is that you're waiting for a feeling that doesn't create results. The feeling comes after the doing. You take one step, however small, and suddenly you feel a little better, a little more energized, a little more motivated. That's how momentum is built, not by sitting and waiting, but by moving forward even when you don't feel like it. The smallest step today can shift everything. One page written leads to a chapter, one workout leads to a habit, one phone call leads to a new opportunity. It doesn't have to be massive, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something. People overestimate what they can achieve in a single day when they're motivated, and underestimate what they can achieve in a year if they simply take consistent small actions. Success isn't about grand gestures. It's about the tiny steps you repeat over and over until they compound into something extraordinary. Action is the cure for doubt, fear, and procrastination. You can sit there overthinking, replaying every possible scenario, trying to figure out the perfect way forward. But none of that matters until you move. The moment you take action, even the tiniest one, the noise in your head gets quieter. You stop being stuck in thought and start living in reality. Fear shrinks when you face it. Confidence grows when you build it, one action at a time. Waiting for motivation keeps you stuck. Action sets you free. Think of all the opportunities you've missed because you were waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right time is the moment you stop thinking and start doing. And once you get moving, something magical happens. You begin to feel motivated, you begin to feel proud, and you begin to see progress. That progress fuels you to take the next step, and the next, and before you know it, you're miles ahead of where you started. The truth is, motivation is a spark, but action is the fire. If you want real change, stop waiting to feel like it. Just do it, no matter how small the step is. That one step today has the power to transform tomorrow. And when you string enough of those small steps together, that's when your entire life begins to change. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Every single time you've grown in your life, it's been because you stepped into something unfamiliar, something that scared you, something that stretched you. Yet most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort at all costs. They want the results, but they don't want the struggle. They want success, but they want it to feel easy. That's not how growth works. If you want to build a life that excites you, you're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. The comfort zone feels safe, but it's a trap. It's where dreams go to die. Inside your comfort zone, nothing changes. You repeat the same habits, think the same thoughts, and get the same results. You may not fail, but you'll never truly succeed either. Real progress begins the moment you step outside that circle of comfort and lean into the unknown. And yes, it will feel awkward. It will feel scary. You'll question yourself, and you'll want to retreat back to safety. That's the exact moment you need to push forward, because it means you're growing. Think about the gym. The only way muscles grow is by tearing and rebuilding. That process is uncomfortable, sometimes painful, but it's necessary. The same is true for life. If you avoid the discomfort of trying, you avoid the growth that comes with it. Every new skill, every new opportunity, every breakthrough in your life is waiting just beyond the edge of what feels comfortable. People often believe success is about talent or luck, but more often it's about the willingness to endure discomfort longer than others. It's about showing up when you're nervous, speaking when your voice shakes, trying even when you don't know if you'll succeed. That's the price of growth. You pay it in sweat, in effort, in courage, and the return on that investment is confidence, strength, and opportunity. Here's the truth: the things you want most, freedom, success, fulfillment, don't live where it's easy. They live where it's hard. They live in the risks you're afraid to take, in the challenges you keep putting off, in the conversations you avoid. When you face those moments instead of running from them, you expand your limits. What once felt impossible starts to feel normal. The things that scare you today will become the things you're proud of tomorrow. So instead of resisting discomfort, lean into it. See it as a sign that you're on the right track. When you feel uncomfortable, it means you're stretching. It means you're building resilience. It means you're moving toward the life you actually want instead of settling for the one you already have. Discomfort is not punishment, it's the process of transformation. The more you embrace it, the more unstoppable you become. Your past does not control you. Your circumstances do not define you. Other people's opinions do not decide your future. The only person who has the power to shape your life is you. And the moment you stop giving that power away, your history, to your environment, to what others think. That's the moment everything begins to change. Too often, people look at where they came from and convince themselves that it limits where they can go. They tell themselves stories like, I wasn't born into money, or I didn't get the right education, or I made too many mistakes. But those stories are just excuses disguised as facts. They may explain where you are, but they don't determine where you can go. What determines your future are the choices you make today. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Circumstances are real, but they're not permanent. Yes, you may be facing obstacles others don't have to deal with. Yes, you may have challenges that feel unfair. But if you let your circumstances dictate your potential, you give away the very control you need to overcome them. There are countless people who started with nothing and built extraordinary lives, not because their situation magically changed, but because they decided not to let it stop them. They took control, and you can too. And then there's the weight of other people's opinions. We get so wrapped up in what others think that we paralyze ourselves. We hold back, we stay small, we play it safe because we don't want to be judged. But here's the truth. People will judge you no matter what you do. If you fail, they'll talk. If you succeed, they'll still talk. So why not do the thing that matters to you? Why not live the life you actually want instead of the one you think will please everyone else? Taking control means shifting from victim to leader in your own life. It means saying, yes, these are my circumstances. Yes, this is my past, but I'm not going to let them decide my future. I am. When you make that decision, you stop waiting for someone else to hand you an opportunity. You stop blaming luck or timing. You stop living as if you have no say in your own story. Instead, you pick up the pen and start writing it yourself. This is the biggest truth you can embrace. Control belongs to you. You control your effort. You control your attitude. You control how many times you get back up after falling. No one can take that away from you unless you give it to them. And when you fully own that truth, when you stop pointing fingers and start taking charge, you discover that you're far more powerful than you ever realized. That's when your life starts to change, not someday, not when things are perfect, but the moment you decide to take control. Waiting is the silent killer of dreams. People waste months, years, sometimes even their entire lives waiting for the perfect time, the right opportunity, the right mindset, the right circumstances. But here's the truth, the perfect time doesn't exist. Life will always be messy. There will always be reasons to delay, excuses to hide behind, and fears to keep you still. If you wait until you feel fully ready, you will never start. The only way to create the life you want is to stop waiting and start doing. The first step is everything. It doesn't matter if it's small, messy, or uncertain. It matters that it's taken. That single step breaks the cycle of procrastination and hesitation. It shifts you from thinking to moving, from planning to acting, from dreaming to building. People think success happens in one big leap, but in reality, it's the courage to take that very first step that opens every door that follows. Without it, nothing else can happen. Think about the times in your life when you've accomplished something meaningful. It didn't begin with confidence or certainty. It began with you saying, I'm just going to try. And maybe it felt awkward or uncomfortable at first, but that one action created momentum. Momentum is what changes lives. One step leads to another, and suddenly you're no longer stuck. You're moving. That's how progress is made. The tragedy is that most people convince themselves they need to wait. They tell themselves they need more knowledge, more resources, more motivation. But action itself gives you those things. You learn by doing, not by waiting. You gain confidence by practicing, not by sitting on the sidelines. You create opportunities by showing up, not by overthinking what might go wrong. Every single day you wait, you're building a habit of hesitation. Every single day you take action, you're building a habit of courage. Which one do you want shaping your future? The first step doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to move you forward. Write one page, make one phone call, go for one walk, record one video, apply for one job, say yes to one opportunity. Those tiny steps may not look like much in the moment, but they're powerful because they shift your identity. You stop being someone who wants to, and start being someone who does. And once you see yourself taking action, you begin to trust yourself. That trust fuels bigger steps, and before you know it, you're living a life that once felt out of reach. So stop waiting for everything to line up, stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the fear to go away. Fear doesn't leave before you start, it leaves because you started. The life you want is waiting for you, but it won't come closer while you stand still. It begins the moment you take that first step. And that first step, no matter how small, has the power to change everything. At the end of the day, the biggest truth that can change your life is knowing that no one else is coming. Motivation fades, growth demands discomfort, control belongs to you, and nothing happens until you take the first step. Your future is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for action. So choose today to rise, to push past the fear, and to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Thank you for giving me your time, your energy, and your trust. Now go out there and create the life you deserve.